Hi everyone, Emily here again. Today I wanted to give you a bit more information about me and my background, how I came to do this work, and a little bit about the work that I do and why I love it so much. So I am living in Pointe-Claire now after having lived for 10 years near Toronto in Oakville, Ontario. I also spent some time in Spain. And I went on exchange in England, so I've traveled a lot through Europe and in Costa Rica, where my grandparents have a property down there. So I speak French, English, and Spanish fluently, and I'm working on Russian and German since my partner and the father of our beautiful daughter, Léya, Vitaly, he's Russian and comes from Kazakhstan, so I'm also working on my Russian. Здравствуйте to the Russians out there. So about my journey with these different this different work that I'm doing. I suppose it first started with yoga when I was in university and was looking for a way to. Initially, it was just to get fit and to have a nice, lean, toned body, because I found that people who did practice yoga just looked so great, and that was my first reason for going into it. At the time, I was a very competitive athlete. I had played intensive hockey, competitive hockey as a teenager. I also swam competitively, went to national swimming competitions when I was just 13 years old. So I was always very competitive and active, and yoga just blew my mind with this practice that was on a little mat, barely moving, with not competing against other people, mostly competing against yourself and working on yourself to develop not only your body but also your mind and spirit. So that just sort of blew my mind, and I fell right into it. I started reading many books, learning about the meditation aspect of it, the energy aspect of it, and sort of absorbing everything that I could about it. So eventually I finally did my teacher training with the Sivananda yoga school in Val-Morin, Quebec, in the Laurentians, which was a great experience. And so that's the background of yoga that I teach now. I teach at OmWest here in Pointe-Claire, and I also teach a mommy-baby yoga class, which I absolutely love, and that sort of ties into the doula work, which I will talk about after. So the second thing that I am working on right now is astrology, and doing astrology consultations one-on-one with people. And I have actually been interested in astrology ever since I was little. I would see in the papers that there was this thing of astrology, and people would say things about people. And it wasn't so much that it was accurate information, it was more that I knew there was a deeper knowledge or deeper something hidden behind this superficial representation of astrology. And so when the internet was first beginning, I was 10 years old, I would try to analyze my family's charts through different programs that I found online. But that was basically just spitting out information automatically, robotically, about certain planetary positions. There wasn't much information behind it. It was only when I met my partner Vitaly about 3 years ago that I met his teacher, Rami Blecht, who is a psychologist and astrologer. And he incorporates the philosophy and knowledge from the Vedas, so those are the ancient texts of India, from which yoga also comes. So it was interesting that my learning and experience in yoga was also being applied through astrology. And so now that's sort of how I work through my consultations, and I find it extremely fascinating. I think also the detailed and intricate knowledge that's behind astrology works well with my love of numbers and of detail. I did study engineering at McGill. I have a bachelor's in mechanical engineering, and so it kind of satisfies that very analytical part of my mind. Then the next thing that I'm working on right now are past life regressions, and that is also something that I was interested ever since I was a child, when my great-grandparents at the time were dying, because I had my great-great-grandmother die and 3 great-grandparents that I knew, that I had met, and that died all around the ages of 8 to 10 years old. And so I was wondering, where were they going? Were they going up to the stars? Could I maybe still talk to them? where were they going next? What was happening? And there weren't many answers in my family about this. No one really talked about death and what was happening beyond. But I was highly questioning it. And I didn't even think that other people worked in this and that there were answers out there at the time. But it was actually with my partner Vitaly that we started to answer these questions and go into this information. He had read a few books about past life experiences and therapists, hypnotherapists who discovered people's past lives. And I also received a book from my great-grandfather who himself was very interested in past lives. And so I read that book and I felt, all right, if my great-grandfather was interested in asking questions about past lives, I can keep going on this and find the answers for him and kind of continue that family interest. So we've been practicing past life regressions now for about a year with a few different clients and having great success, extremely loving it. It's very, very interesting, fascinating stuff, so check it out. And then the last thing that's not the last in importance, but just the last that I'm talking about now is my doula work. So working with women who are about to give birth as a birth doula. And this I knew I wanted to do right after my birth experience because I actually had a great natural birth with Vitaly and with the midwives here in Pointe-Claire, and it was a beautiful, very powerful experience. And when I talked to other women about their birth experiences, I was finding that they didn't necessarily have the same, and that there were a lot of missing pieces of information that they didn't receive through their prenatal period. And so I just dove right into that, and I was super fascinated. I have always been interested in things that are medical and not shying away from cuts and wounds and bodily things. I find it very, very interesting. And I also am really interested in the transition that a woman goes through before she becomes a mother, especially for the first time. It was a very intense thing for me to live through, and I'm really excited to guide other women through it and support them through it, and families, whole families, the woman and her partner who are undergoing this experience of welcoming a child into the world. So now with my mommy baby yoga class, I'm also teaching yoga to women postpartum, helping their bodies heal, helping them find different techniques to deal with the ups and downs of sleep and emotions and everything that comes with having a new baby in the family. And that has been very fulfilling and very amazing to see these beautiful women go through this. So that's a little bit about me. We also have a cat named Shanti. It's really cute. I did want to talk about the women's nights that I hold here at our place. I invite women from the community, so a few moms and other friends, some who are still in university or even CJEP. So it's a really wide range of women of different ages, different backgrounds, different life experiences who are coming together to explore different, I would say spiritual practices, but in a more concrete way, practices that help explore different parts of ourselves and of our consciousness and of our mind and see where we can go. So we do past life regressions together. We explore the ideas of energy work and energy healing and what that concretely, practically means, and how to protect ourselves within that work and to respect sort of the laws of nature that apply within that as well. That sort of comes from my engineering background. Respecting the laws of physics that are still working and applying through the energy work. So if you have any more questions, please comment below. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to working with you and meeting you soon. Goodbye. To find out more about me and my work, subscribe to this YouTube channel, like my Facebook page, and check out my Instagram and Snapchat accounts for lots of fun family things, activities, and different things going on in my life. And also check out my meetup group for anyone living in the Montreal area. I hold lots of fun events for women and also post events that are happening in the community for free. So go check it out. I hope to see you soon. Bye!